Welcome back, everyone. This is GTA Failure. The one and only task of this particular video is paramedic. So let's give it a shot. First thing you need to do is find an ambulance. There's one conveniently parked here at the hospital. It's typically open, but if it's not open, then maybe run or drive away like 200 feet and then come back and this thing will respawn and hopefully it'll be open. Okay, a small time save. I'm going to try to knock the doors off of this thing. It's a lot easier if you have the hammer. But I lost the hammer when I got busted at the end of that first attempt at Pizza Boy. So having these things off here is totally optional. You definitely don't want to damage your ambulance too much in punching or hammering those doors off. But the nice thing about having them off is that every time somebody wants to get into your ambulance, they don't have to open the door and then close the door. Okay, so we push I to begin paramedic. You can see we have a minute 21 and counting to complete level 1. And completing level 1 means picking up that person at the yellow dot, or the yellow triangle, I should say, and then bringing them back to the hospital. And then you probably have already guessed that level 2 is two patients, and level 3 is 3 patients, all the way up to level 12 patients. So when you pick somebody up, you get a time bonus, in this case 41 seconds. Now, if there were other patients on this level, then every other time I picked up a patient on this level, I would get exactly the same 41 seconds. The first person, however much time you get for that person, the bonus time, is exactly the same for the rest of the level. Okay, so here we are, level 2, picking up 2 people and bringing them back. There are a bunch of ways to fail paramedic. So 1, if you run out of time, then you fail paramedic. 2, if you run over any of your passengers and they die, then you fail paramedic. 3, if you get busted, you fail paramedic. 4, if you get out of your ambulance, you fail paramedic immediately. It's not like Pizza Boy where you can get off and then back on. So lots of ways to fail. Maybe there's others. Oh, if your ambulance blows up because, for example, you rolled it and it flips over, then you fail paramedic. I would guess that the most common way to fail paramedic is to run over one of the passengers. So you're going to see me give all of my passengers a wide berth. I'm going to let them run a little ways towards the ambulance to make sure that I don't squish them and then fail. You'll also see me kind of driving carefully. I don't want to damage the ambulance too much. Because if it takes so much damage that it catches on fire, then you fail. And unfortunately, you can't bring this to the pay and spray. The pay and spray will not repair any emergency vehicles, not the ambulance, not the firefighter, not a police car. So try to keep your ambulance intact. Minor fender benders here and there are totally fine. And then also try to stop far away from your patient. And as soon as they begin coming towards me, I stop moving, wait for them to get in the car before continuing on my journey. As usual, traction is worse on the sand than on the road, so be extra careful here, giving a wide berth. You don't want to accidentally skid into a patient and then squish them. And if it's raining, that decreases your traction everywhere, and raining on the sand is particularly dicey, so just take it slow. I know there's a countdown, a timer happening here, so it's easy to feel like, oh gosh, I have to be moving really quick and take all these chances. You don't. The bonus time they give you here is quite generous. In fact, paramedic here I find to be so much easier than paramedic in GTA 3. If you're enjoying this series, feel free to check out my GTA 3 series. It's in exactly the same vein as this one, 100% completion with no glitches. Where am I going? Yeah. When I was doing paramedic over there, when I first tried to learn paramedic, I failed it the first time for, I don't know, running out of time or flipping my ambulance or squishing one of my patients. And then I failed it the second time, and I failed it the third time. And I don't know how many times I failed it, but I do know that I failed it for 16 hours. It was crazy. I was very close to giving up my dream of completing GTA 3 at 100%. But ultimately, I got better at driving the ambulance, and also learned some things about the time bonus. But it turns out that paramedic here in Vice City is just so much more forgiving. It's still easy to fail and quite frustrating if you're failing late, because this is a very long mission, the longest mission in the game probably. What am I running into here? I can't see. But I find it to be far, far easier in Vice City than in GTA 3. Okay, so one other thing to note is that the capacity of this ambulance is 3, and so you don't need to bring 3 people back every time. Typically I will, but starting here on level 4, you gotta make at least 2 trips to the hospital because you can't fit all 4 of your patients into one ambulance ride. So you could do, 3 patients and then drop them off and then 1, or 1 patient and drop them off and then 3, or what I'm doing here, which is 2 and 2. So feel free to split up your patients into any number of trips to the hospital. I'm just going to try to do things in an efficient way here. And occasionally I'll take a look at the clock, but typically there's so much time that you don't need to worry about the clock at all. You just need to focus on driving safely and not squishing your patients. Keep your ambulance, low damage, and stay far from the patients when you're picking them up, and just try to come up with some reasonable route that's somewhat efficient. But even that's not all that important. Getting a wanted level by like running over a police officer or running over a pedestrian when there's a police officer nearby, it's not the end of the world. It's not mission fail, but it could be problematic. If you get 1 wanted star, it will just disappear on its own as long as you are a good boy or girl and don't commit crimes for a while. If you get 2 wanted stars, again, you can't clear them at the pay and spray. And so with 2 wanted stars, you're definitely going to want to go find a bribe star or 2 in order to clear your wanted level. Okay, so I didn't really have a good plan here for picking up these folks in an efficient way, so I think I'm going to cut through here, just like, actually I want it to be down on the lower level, so let's hope that we don't roll this thing. Okay, so we're cutting through here, unfortunately running some folks over. I would pick them up, but I don't have room in my ambulance, and also I don't think we take their insurance. Okay, so heading back to the hospital, we'll take this little shortcut here to get back to the main north-south road on the east. Took a quick look at the time, 1:18, plenty of time. When you make your first drop-off at the hospital on any given level, you do get that same time bonus. But so we'll get a time bonus right here. Let's see it. 29 seconds. But if I were to drop off folks a second or third time on this same level, I wouldn't get the time bonus anymore. Only the first time. And I don't even think you need to bring back a full ambulance of 3 people. I think you can just bring back 1 person and you'll still get the time bonus as long as it's the first time dropping off at the hospital on that given level. So we can apply our, let me pick this person up before I do math. So we can apply our fancy formula here. So as we wrap up level 5, we can apply our fancy formula to figure out how many passengers we need to drop off in order to complete all 12 levels, because the number of passengers is going to be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 all the way up to 12. And so using our fancy formula from the Pizza Boy video, all we do is take the highest number 12, multiply it by 1 more, that's 13. 12 times 13 is 156. Okay, where are we going here? Let's go, I don't know, let's go north. Take 12 times 13 is 156, and then divide that by 2, always divide by 2, and we get 78. So 78 passengers in total. Still trying to come up with a plan for grouping these folks. I guess we'll get the 3 northernmost folks first. Taking a quick look at the clock to make sure I have time. I think we'll be just fine here, stopping as soon as they begin moving. And 32 seconds is healthy. Let's head out to the beach. Careful of the water here on your left. Okay, so 78 passengers, or patients, I should say, when all is said and done at the end of level 12. And here we are wrapping up level 6. So if we want to know how many people we will have dropped off at the end of this level, so that's 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6. And again, using our fancy formula, 6 times 1 more is 7. 6 times 7 is 42. Divided by 2 every time. 42 divided by 2 is 21. So look out. So at the end of this level, we will have dropped off 21 out of 78 passengers. So it can be kind of deceptive, like if you're measuring your progress by counting the number of levels, because there's 12 levels, and we're about to wrap up level 6, which feels like halfway. but we say 21 divided by 78 is not close to halfway. It's not even a third. But that's okay. Don't let the numbers frighten you. Just follow my tips and you'll be just fine here. Most important thing on paramedic, again, is keeping your ambulance healthy and keeping your patients healthy by not squishing them. Okay, and you can see I'm like 20 feet away when I stop. Just being very generous with that space. So I don't think I have much more to say about paramedic, but I do want to show you this whole thing. I don't want to just pause the video and show it to you at the end. So maybe this is a good time for me to talk about my experiences with this game. So I got into video games with the NES. I'm very old, I know. Don't judge me. And so I got an NES kind of late in the. I'm going to back up here, but not until they get in. That's another tip: is don't back up until the passenger is safely in because you don't want to squish them while you're backing up. So I got an NES very late in the life cycle of the NES and had just a couple of games, not very many, and then didn't really graduate to any other consoles for a long, long time. A minute one. I'm going to grab these three to the south. Hopefully this first one isn't too far away. You could pull up the map to like really find out where they are, but the clock is ticking here, and I'm a speedrunner, so I'm not going to do that. So didn't really have any other consoles for a long time after the NES. Where is this person? Over here. There we go. And then at some point discovered the joys of emulation, and also found a site where I downloaded every NES ROM. I think it was something like 800 titles in all. Totally legal for me to download those because I owned all 800 of those NES cartridges. And so with the joys of emulation, I decided I was going to try to complete or beat like every NES game in the whole catalog. And so I started playing them alphabetically. And I think I began this alphabetical NES project maybe in 2001. And I was making good progress here and there, really enjoying like looking at walkthroughs online, and finally finding like images, like of the game maps to make things much easier. I even use some Game Genie codes, and that's right, I am a big fat dirty stinking cheater. I use save states. I would fast forward the game, through the kind of long, slow parts. All good, all good. Another thing I could say about paramedic here is that as soon as you stop at the hospital to drop folks off, let's see, where do I go? Do I want that person? I'm going to skip that person for now. As soon as you stop in the pink marker and they begin getting out, you can drive away. I've never killed a patient as they were getting out of my ambulance. So the NES project was going great, but then kind of life got in the way, and I put the NES project on hold for a while, and then kind of got back into it like in, I don't know, 2010 or something. Where's this person? They're down there. And then I got stuck on like, I don't know, Goonies 2. I was in the G's somewhere. And even with walkthroughs and maps and save states and all that, I still couldn't complete Goonies 2. And I just stopped there for more years. And here we are in 2022. And I have not completed the NES project yet, but I'm getting there. But the point of that whole story is that pretty much it was nothing but NES for me until maybe 2013 or so. So here we got to drop these folks off at the hospital and then pick up that last person. And I did get a Super Nintendo very, very late. I don't know when I got that. I didn't play it very much. And then it was pretty much nothing until like 2013-ish or so. This person here is the one that started coming out, and you can see why I want to stop, because if I had assumed that they were getting into the back of my ambulance and I started driving forward, but actually they had their heart set on the passenger seat in the front, then I could run right into them, and that would make me a sad panda. Okay, a quick look at the map. Let's grab the 3 to the north. So in 2013 or so, I got a Kindle Fire, which is a small little touchscreen tablet. And I got it for some productivity reasons and I guess some entertainment reasons too. But anyway, somehow while I was monkeying around with the Kindle Fire, I found that GTA Vice City was, all right, so here I'm going to slow down because I think that's a drunk driver up there and I want my passenger to stay very far away from them. So discovered that you could actually play some video games on the Kindle Fire. And so I wasn't looking for it, but I found that GTA Vice City was on sale, and I never played any of the GTA games. I'd heard about all the, like the backlash about how violent the games were and how it had all this inappropriate content. Both of those things are absolutely true, by the way. But I wasn't offended by the idea of a video game cursing at me or whatever. Um, and so I got it for like $5 or something on the Kindle Fire. I'm reminiscing. I'm thinking back to where I was when I first played GTA Vice City and totally drove past the hospital. Sorry, patients. Okay. Hopefully my patients have patience. See what I did there? So then I started playing GTA Vice City on the Kindle Fire. My very first experience, like I didn't know like if I could run traffic lights. So like I'm in a car, and I'm at a red light, and I'm just stopped there, and I'm thinking, wait, did I just spend $5 so I could wait at traffic lights in a video game? But then I discovered that you can go through traffic lights and break a whole lot of more significant crimes without the police caring. And then I was off to the races. And the first time, like one of the NPCs cursed at me, I just started laughing out loud. Again, it was really like the first experience I had with video games after the NES. And so, like, even though I played Vice City, I don't know, a good dozen years after it came out, it was many generations forward in time relative to my NES experiences. So, like, the graphics were amazing, and the sound was amazing, and the story, and the open world concept, and the depth, all these side missions, and it was just amazing. And so I played through Vice City on my Kindle Fire. Where's my hospital? Over here. Played through it, followed a walkthrough to get 100%, and it took something like 50 hours, like 50 hours. And for perspective now, with a little bit of practice here, I can do this game in about 11 hours, and I think I could get it down to maybe even close to 10 hours if I practice more. But anyway, 50 hours the first time, and then I just started over, brand new game, and took like I don't know, like 42 hours the second time. So I think I played it like 3 times all the way through back then on the Kindle Fire. In my defense, part of the reason I was so slow, well, number one, I was using a walkthrough which wasn't designed for speed. It was designed for like being easy to follow in written format. And number two, the Kindle Fire, like I said, is a touch screen. And so I was playing this game on a touch screen, and that it does not give near the control that, for example, a controller would give you if you're playing on console, or if a mouse and a keyboard give you, like I'm playing on PC right now. All right, let's make a quick plan here. I see a bunch of folks on the beach. I don't want this close one yet. Let's maybe these three that are grouped together over here. Let's do that. So this will be, like a quick set of 3-time boosts. So it'll give me plenty of bonus time to complete the whole rest of the level. Again, being very careful here because I'm on the beach, which reduces traction, and it's raining, which reduces traction. And just like that, 3 41-second time bonuses, and we're almost at 3 minutes. So plenty of time to complete the rest of this level and to reminisce. So what were we saying? So on the touch screen, I just didn't have as much control as you would with a controller or keyboard and mouse, and so that made some of the missions quite a bit more challenging than they were intended to be. So for example, like any mission where like you had to do some fast driving with lots of turns was trickier because sometimes I'd be pushing on the Kindle Fire touchscreen, and I would just miss the button that was supposed to turn, and I'd smack into something or drive into the water, or maybe I'm touching one place, but the Kindle Fire misperceives where I'm touching on the screen, and so it sends me like way off somewhere far away from what I intended. And then there were other missions where I really suffered from a lack of control, even more than the driving missions. And the one that I'm thinking of, how do I get onto the beach? The one that I'm thinking of in particular is the rifle range side mission. And so in this, can I squeeze through here? In the rifle range side mission, you have to shoot a bunch of targets, and the targets are moving, and so you really need a lot of precision. The time window that you have to shoot enough points worth of targets is small. The number of bullets you have is small, so you can't afford to miss too many bullets. And so I'm using this like imprecise touchscreen on the Kindle Fire, and I just had a devil of a time. I don't know how many hours I spent. Like that whole mission is supposed to take like a minute and a half, and I spent many hours. And again, it was one of these things where I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get 100% in this game because I don't know that I can complete this in this format with the Kindle Fire. And the Kindle Fire does have you can use some Bluetooth controllers with it, and I even bought one specifically for playing Vice City. But it turned out there was Vice City was known to glitch with all Bluetooth controllers on the Kindle Fire, and so it just wasn't. I don't think it was playable. Maybe I'm thinking San Andreas was the one that glitched. Either way, the even if I got a controller talking to my Kindle Fire in Vice City, it still didn't allow me to do everything that I needed to do with precision. So it was rough. And then at some point, maybe in 2019 or something, I installed Steam and I bought. Where am I going here? I guess we'll just go around. And I bought this game on Steam, and then that was really the first time that I played the game kind of the way the game designers intended, where I wasn't relying on imprecise touchscreen controls, and instead I had a keyboard and mouse, and it was so wonderful to have the kind of control that the game designers intended, and to not struggle unnecessarily on some missions that are supposed to be trivial, but became very, very difficult. Okay, so I've totally lost track. I think this is level 9, I guess, because we're dropping off 3 people, and I think it's the 3rd time we're dropping off on this level. You can see plenty of time, 4 minutes, 20 seconds. So lots of time here. And I think this is level 9 complete. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so here we are on level 10. Minute 22 to start. So how about we head out this way? We'll grab these 2 folks on the beach. I'm going to pick the further one up first. It doesn't much matter. In GTA 3, picking up the further one would give you a bigger time bonus, which might mean the difference between having enough time to complete the level or not. If you get like a 31-second time bonus every time in GTA 3 because you've got 31 seconds for the first passenger, that can really add up versus getting like a 17-second time bonus on the first passenger and then 17 seconds for the rest of that level. But 42 seconds, plenty of time, and also the answer to the question of the universe, or something like that. Some of you will get that reference. Also, I think there's a 42 reference with some Kevin Smith movie. I forget which one. That reference is more adult-themed in nature than my question to the universe reference. And then isn't Jackie Robinson's number 42? I watched that movie. It was really well done, hard to watch in parts. And then the actor, I forget the actor's name, I think it starts with a B. The actor who played Jackie Robinson died really young. That was a surprise. I know a lot of people were quite affected by his death at his age. Okay, sorry to bring the mood down here, but anyway, Jackie Robinson, trailblazer, American hero. Okay, so let's go over here. I don't even know where this person is. Are they just next to this building? Oh, they're up by the pool. Yeah, so this one is kind of a long one to get. I think I need some more momentum to get up there, and not so much momentum that I squished this patient. Get up here. Okay, so stopped. All right, great. Okay, so continuing merrily along. And then I guess I'll keep reminiscing here. So after I played Vice City on the Kindle Fire, I also bought San Andreas because I was just like hooked on Vice City. And I said more Vice City is better, so let's get San Andreas. Again, had a great time except for the controller issues. I think San Andreas didn't allow me to use a Bluetooth controller at all. The only danger here on the beach is that you're not paying attention because you're headed back to the hospital and you accidentally run right over another patient who's on the beach. It's okay to run over these beachgoers, just not the patients. Um, yeah, and so really loved San Andreas. It was like massive. I mean, Vice City is pretty big. At least it felt big when I first started playing it. But then San Andreas was just this massive, massive game. To date, I guess that's the biggest game I've played. I do have some other games on my to-do list that maybe are bigger. I'm not sure how big the map is for like Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas, or I think Just Cause 3 is another one I have. So we've got some big open world games on the to-do list. But anyway, San Andreas was just this like order of magnitude larger than Vice City. At least that's how it felt. Super, super cool. Just tons of content. Like plenty of like great story missions, but also tons of content, side missions and bonus things, and all these things that you can do if you're a completionist like me. So that was really cool. So I'm here making this tutorial series for Vice City, and like I mentioned before, I've already made another series like this for GTA 3, and so San Andreas is on my list. I think I'll keep making these tutorial playthroughs. They're fun to make and hopefully helpful to some of you folks out there in YouTube land. What do I do here? So there's two people left, so I guess I'll just drop these folks off because those two people look like they might be close-ish to each other. And I only have room for one more patient on this ambulance ride. So we'll drop them off here and then head back out for more. So she is near the hospital, which is convenient. So if she could just like crawl herself over to the hospital, they might be able to take care of her. I kind of think she might not be capable of that given the condition I left her in. So at some point I'll make a San Andreas tutorial, I think. Where are these folks here? One here and one there. Okay, so this should be it for level 10. I'm not sure what order I'm going to continue making these Vice City video playthroughs in. My intention, I guess, is to play the games in the order that they came out, as opposed to like playing like Vice City Stories right after beating Vice City. So I think I'll play them in the order they came out. At least that's one option. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay, 3 folks with a minute 8 heading out to the beach. Always a good idea. Smacking into these things while you're looking at the minimap. Also a good idea. All right, so there's this one close one. Again, I think it'd be totally fine to pick up a close person first. Like I mentioned, Vice City is just way more forgiving in terms of giving you lots of time than than GTA 3. But I'll just continue my habit of picking up a far-ish person first. So we'll grab this one and then the 2 closest folks to the north. Come on in. We're going to take care of you, sir. I wonder what he was doing out here on the beach with his coat and tie. Doesn't matter. We don't ask questions. We just help people because we are kind and good, and we're doing important work here in paramedic. So interesting here, we got 35 seconds. I'm pretty sure that's the farthest away patient that we picked up first, but we've been getting like 41 second time bonuses and 42 second time bonuses. So I'm not sure exactly how Rockstar programmed this game in terms of figuring out how much bonus time to give you. I'm making a beeline for the hospital, but just making sure I don't squish anybody on the way. One thing, if your ambulance is full and you drive very close to another patient, one that you haven't picked up yet, there'll be a little message on the bottom of the screen that says ambulance full. And it's not a problem, it's not a big deal, but you just want to make sure that you aren't surprised by it, and that if you are surprised, it doesn't cause you to, for example, run into something or someone, or maybe flip your ambulance. So just something to be aware of. So 220, plenty of time for the rest of this level, and I think this is level 11, the penultimate level. Is she coming? She is. Okay, where's the other person on the beach? Right here. And then continuing with my reminiscing about GTA failures experiences with GTA games. So after San Andreas and Vice City, I didn't play any other GTA games for a long time. But then at some point, a friend of mine loaned me a PlayStation 2. That was maybe back in, I don't know, like 2015-ish. Um, and then I played on the PlayStation 2 a little bit of GTA 4, and it was a lot of fun playing that game. I didn't get very far. I was following a 100% walkthrough, and I was making good progress. But again, life kind of got in the way, and I maybe only got like 5% of the way into that game. Um, I found it particularly troubling to do the pigeons collectible. So instead of like hidden packages, these pigeons in fixed locations in Liberty City, which is obviously a parody of New York City. And so there's these pigeons, and in order to get credit for the collectible, you need to shoot each of those pigeons. And so, as an ethical vegetarian who believes in animal rights, well, it was hard for me to stomach. But you better believe I shot all of those birds when I found them. Okay, so 3 minutes left here, plenty of time. Nothing can stop us now. Famous last words. So if I'm not doing commentary on paramedic, then paramedic typically takes me right around 35 minutes. It's fairly consistent. So this one, so we started this one at like an hour 30, and now we're at 2:02. So we're at like 32 minutes. And we've got 2 more people to pick up here, plus the level 12, which will take us the longest time of all the levels. So this one is going to take me longer than 35 minutes, but it's because, what am I doing here? Because I'm taking longer as I try to walk and chew gum while I complete paramedic and talk to you about all the details of paramedic and my experiences with GTA. And then after playing GTA 4, but then kind of bailing out on it, not because it wasn't good, but just because I didn't really have time at that point in my life. Then a friend of mine and I got into GTA 5. He had a PS4, and he owned GTA 5, and he had played it a little bit, but not that much. And so he and I followed a 100% walkthrough for that game, and it was really awesome. And I forget how far we got. Like, we really were taking a long time to get it because we'd only hang out, like once every couple of weeks or so, and then we'd play for 2 hours. And when you're only playing like 2 hours every 2 weeks, it takes a long time to 100% GTA 5. So I forget how far we got. I think we were close to 50%. Maybe we were at like 48% or something. And then I moved, and so that is as far as I've gotten in GTA 5. So I'm looking forward to tackling that game as well. All right, so this was not my plan. I didn't realize there were 2 people over here on the left. I thought there were just 3 folks to the north, and it turns out there's 4. So let's just see how this goes, shall we? So we pick this one up, assuming we're going to get a healthy time bonus. 35 seconds again. Good enough. And I'm not sure exactly where my third person should be here. I don't think I should make a trip to the hospital with an ambulance that isn't full, because this is level 12, and so ideally you do 4 sets of 3. So I guess we'll just grab this person here and then come back for that northern person on the beach. I drove a little bit too close to that person for my comfort, probably for his comfort as well. And again, it's very common for folks to make good progress on paramedic, and then one moment of inattention and you squish a passenger, or you smack into a tree, which causes you to flip and roll your ambulance. Start over from level 1. Devastating. Okay, so let's just head up to the north here again. I don't really have a, oh goodness, looking at the map here, trying to come up with a plan, and instead of driving, I look at the map and smash into stuff. Oh, one other thing I guess I could say is that if you tap the, so be careful not to push the paramedic mission start and stop button, which is I think I on my keyboard. But if you tap the horn button, which is shift for me, then you can turn your flashers and lights on. And that causes all the other cars on the road, except for the police, to get out of your way, which seems like a good idea. But I find it to be more trouble than it's worth, and so I actually never use it. But I'll tell you that that the other drivers drive very erratically when they see you coming with your flashers on, and so they might move out of your way or think they're moving out of your way, but actually the turn that they make to kind of get out of their lane puts themselves in your way. And so that's annoying. And also, maybe a bigger issue is that the other drivers will so aggressively get out of your way that sometimes they will drive into other pedestrians. And if they happen to drive into a pedestrian who is a patient of yours, an upcoming patient of yours, and kill them, then you fail. And so I just find it not worth the risk associated with it. And the benefit is hardly anything. So we're just going to turn those off again with the shift button. But you can experiment with having lights and flashers going. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it makes you feel more official, more powerful in your Good Samaritan role of paramedic. So feel free to try it out if you wish. I'm just going to go without. And I think we'll have no problems here with time. So it's just a question of safely getting all of these patients into my ambulance. Okay, so this is the fourth to last patient. I should have stopped earlier than I did. All right, so we're going to teach you some fancy words here. So ultimate means last, and penultimate means second to last. So the second to last in any list is the penultimate in that list. And if you want to be really nerdy, here's two more words along the same vein for you. Third to last is anti-penultimate. And then fourth to last is pre-anti-penultimate, which is just all kinds of silly as far as words go. So I think that this fourth to last patient we just picked up, that woman there, is the pre-anti-penultimate patient. And I'm sure she's quite proud to have that title. Okay, so here the order doesn't make any difference. We'll just grab this person here and then continue going south. Where are they? Right here. Hop in, Mr. Anti-penultimate. There we go. Just to left, we'll grab the southern one first. But still paying attention because again, you know, if you could just slip up, and after 30 minutes of driving well and doing good work as a paramedic, you can squish somebody or roll your ambulance, and then fail. Another issue is that like if you get a wanted level, like maybe you run into a police car or whatever. Okay, that's the penultimate person safely aboard. So getting wanted level can be problematic because you might just get unlucky, and you know you're going to pick up, like maybe you get a wanted level for whatever reason, and then you stop to pick up some patient, but you get unlucky because there's a police officer right there that you don't notice, and they pull you out because you're stopped. And even if you see them and you try to pull away, the acceleration of the ambulance is not great. And so you might still get busted even as you're slowly trying to drive away from the officer. So we don't have, oh, hello, we don't have any problems like that. We succeed first time, every time. GTA Succeeder represent. Just got hit. That was rude. Okay. And now we get this message, you will never get tired. That's pretty awesome. And so we have completed paramedic. Some of these kind of missions you can continue doing them. Like we can move on to like level 13. I'm just driving south and looking for a fast-ish car. What is that car right there? That's nothing. You can continue to like a 13th level and beyond just for, I don't know, like bonus money and for fun, but you can't on Pizza Boy and you can't on Paramedic. All right, so I don't see a fast car. Like really any car will be okay, but the ambulance is pretty slow. So I'm just gonna spend a moment here and we'll wind down this video momentarily. So this car is not great, but pretty much anything is better than an ambulance. Getting a wanted level here, also not so great, but we will manage. Okay, so I'm just going to drive right over here, which is where our next task is going to be, but the instructions there in the, I'm just going to pause here. The instructions there in the timing program say take a fast-ish car, southwest, southwest to the rampage. So those are the directions that we follow, south and then west and then south and then west. So we will pick up here next time. Thank you so much for watching and we'll see you real soon.